Hey everyone, welcome back to Manifest with Markeisha. This is a space for growth where I challenge old mindsets, break through limitations, and speak life into your journey with words of encouragement in hopes to empower you. My passion is to help you elevate your self concept, release what no longer serves you, and step boldly into the highest version of yourself. So let's jump into this, shall we? You ever notice how sometimes the people who wound you the deepest, the ones who plot against you, abandon you, or mistreat you, end up teaching you lessons you could have never learned in comfort? It doesn't feel like it in the moment, I know. When betrayal hits, it feels like rejection. When people twist your story, it feels humiliating. When you're abandoned, oh, it feels personal. But later, when the sting fades, you realize something powerful. Your enemies actually became your teachers. Now, I want to be clear about something. And when I'm talking about your enemies becoming your teachers, I want to clear up what that doesn't mean. So I don't want my words to be misunderstood. It doesn't mean that their actions are ever justified. It doesn't mean that you deserve to be mistreated. And it doesn't mean that you have to excuse mistreatment. What I'm saying is you didn't walk away empty-handed. Deception teaches you discernment. Rejection teaches you resilience. And betrayal teaches you boundaries. So every cut left actually gave you wisdom you carry today. And here's the truth. Without those lessons, you could never step into the version of yourself that you're becoming. Let me tell you where this episode is growing from. So this morning, I went on a walk. I like to walk, you've heard me say it before, just to clear my head and to reconnect with peace. As I'm on my walk, enjoying my peace, out of nowhere, I crossed paths with someone from my past who was connected to someone in a season of my life that carried a lot of pain. And it's crazy because in an instant, my peace was interrupted. My calm was shaken. When I tell you memories resurfaced, I started feeling the betrayal, the embarrassment, the humiliation all over again. By the time I kept walking, those feelings had shifted from frustration to a little bit of anger. But here's when the spirit checked me though. I felt within me saying, yeah, I had every right to be angry about the situation that occurred in my life. Yes, I had every right to feel the betrayal of what occurred. But if I stayed there, I missed the bigger lesson. So in that moment, I started to ask myself, what did I really learn? And the answer came to me quick. My light can't be dimmed just to make other people comfortable. And people who wear masks teach you how to see through manipulation and fake smiles. And most importantly, seasons of betrayal teach you the power of boundaries where before there were only open doors. See, they didn't realize it then, and they probably don't realize it now, but they were teachers. They were the sharpening tools I didn't even know I would need for the next season of my life. I have to reiterate, when I say your enemies are your teachers, I'm not saying you excuse them. I'm not saying you go back for more. I mean, wisdom says learn the lesson, but don't repeat the class. You don't need to give repeat access to people who've already proven they will mishandle you. That is not strength. That's self-betrayal. Take the teacher. Leave the toxicity. Move in wisdom and not in bitterness. Life has a way of handing us the same test until we finally pass. You'll get a different face, a different setting, but the same spirit. So choose wisdom so you don't have to repeat the class. Rise up and say, okay, I see it now. That betrayal taught me boundaries. That rejection taught me resilience. That pain taught me presence. That's when you graduate. That's when the enemy loses its power. And now, instead of living angry, you live equipped. So going back to my walk, after I did all that reflecting, was reflecting a little bit more, I shifted yet again. And I went from frustration to gratitude. I was actually grateful for all the lessons learned from that hurtful chapter of my life. How it made me realize so much was born in the darkest hours. And while I was in that mindset, I felt a tickle on my leg. And I looked down and I saw a yellow jacket and I panicked. Because listen, in all my power and resilience, I respectfully don't like bugs, okay? So this yellow jacket on my leg, I responded instantly and I started swatting at it and, jumping up and down. I was looking kind of crazy. But instead of it attacking me, which yellow jackets are known to be aggressive, especially if they feel threatened, this yellow jacket responded almost like a butterfly, if I'm being honest. It just sat there. It was like still. And it didn't have the normal traits that I guess a yellow jacket would. And as I kicked up and jumped off and swatted, it fluttered away. It was like a slow flight away. And it was in that moment that I realized this is exactly what life is like. The thing you thought would sting you sometimes doesn't. The threat isn't always what it seems. In fact, sometimes the very thing that scared you came to show you something about yourself. To remind you that you're not always as vulnerable as you think. That you're actually stronger than you realize. See, for me, guys, that wasp was a messenger, a reminder. What was meant to harm you is already disarmed. So here's what I want you to remember. Your enemies may plot against you, but they cannot cancel your destiny. They may try to shame you, but in the end, they really sharpen you. And they may mean to harm you, but the Most High, He'll definitely turn it around for your good. That wasp that lands on you doesn't always sting. That betrayal that breaks your heart doesn't always end your story. Sometimes it's just the classroom where your strength is revealed. So the next time you're tempted to stay furious, embarrassed, or bitter, pause and ask, what is this teaching me? Because in the end, your enemies just might be the teachers that graduate you into your next level. So until next time, keep growing, keep rising, and keep believing. Because every setback is really a setup for your next level.